Hi guys, welcome to the Ben and Polly channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the New Who episode Cold War, written by Mark Gatiss. It was an episode in Series 7. I find this one very underrated. I'm not going to say that it's the best ever, but for what it was, I think that it's a shining example of a under siege story, and it uses the Ice Warriors very well, and it's also a great journey into the past for Clara, and shows us a little bit about her character and gives her a little bit more development than what happens later on, to be frank. So, beginning with the fact that this is an Ice Warrior story, I'm really not a fan of them as a villain in general. The classic stories with them, so there's like the Ice Warriors original, and then there's like the Seeds of Doom, or the Seeds of Death. I always get them muddled up. One is the really great Tom Baker story, but yeah, one of them is the one with the Ice Warriors, and I find it really tedious and boring. Also to do with something called T-Mat, I think, and it was really hard to get through. I appreciate some people like it, but yeah, it's not my thing. And the old Ice Warriors story is only pictures, but that doesn't stop me from liking a story. I really like the Highlanders, for example, but I found it really, really slow. I enjoyed Victoria in it because that was one of her first stories, I think, but yeah, it just wasn't great. So, but this actually makes the Ice Warriors quite interesting and quite scary, in my opinion. And you know, the fact that the Grand Marshal, he actually comes out of his takes his helmet off, and then part of him is sort of slithering around, and he goes to grab his victims and like pretty much strangles them. It's quite nasty, really, and it is quite scary. I'm a very big fan of this blue and green lighting. I really like episodes that use it, so I don't know. But also that I generally like episodes set in the past, so although this is only the 1970s and we don't get to see much of it, you know, it is obviously set during the Cold War, which is a pun on the Ice Warriors coming from cold planet Mars, of course. But yeah, I think that it uses that in its advantage, in the fact that the character who really loves Ultravox and Duran Duran and gets Clara to sing that song when she gets nervous. So yeah, I don't know, I just find lots of aspects of this very interesting. It starts with Clara and the Doctor thinking that they're going to be in Vegas, and Clara's in this really nice dress, and the Doctor's got shades on, and it's like, oh, I really want to know what happened before that. But yeah, it's very interesting for Clara's character, because she is terrified when she's going to talk to the Ice Warrior, and you know, her usual snarkiness takes a back seat, and it's more showing the vulnerability of Clara that we saw in the Rings of Akaten. In Bells of St. John, she's very like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing, blah blah blah. But in this, she's more hiding behind the front, and she's, as Emma Grayling says in Hyde, Clara is more scared than she lets on, which, you know, I do find her character very interesting in the second half of Series 7. So yeah, definitely for Clara content, I would say to rewatch this story and maybe rewatch The Rings of Akaten as well, which I quite enjoy. I'd say that, not to spoil my ranking video, but yeah, those two are probably the strongest in Series 7, along with The Snowmen, which I enjoy. But yeah, it's not a great season overall. But yeah, I'd say this is for a Mark Gatiss story, who normally I find his stories quite boring. And actually a very good comparison is obviously Empress of Mars, which was also about the Ice Warriors in series 10 with 12th Doctor and Bill. That one, I found it okay, but again, it's just quite boring. It didn't really use the fact that, you know, they were soldiers and they just got turned into these little ball things, and it was just like, oh, okay, this is the Emperor who's like queen or whatever, and you know, it just wasn't interesting. This one, there's always stuff going on. It's never slow in paces. You're wondering, what does this Ice Warrior want? Is he gonna kill them all? There is a real threat to the episode, and it has those comedic moments like with the old guy and Clara. And the doctor is quite funny as well, from what I remember, even at the end where he said, oh, he put the hands on the TARDIS, so the TARDIS has just gone to the other side, and it's at like the South Pole instead of the North Pole, or it might be the other way around. But yeah, he has some great comedic moments, and yeah, definitely check out this episode, because it's got a real atmosphere to it, lots of tension. It's not the best ever, but for its kind, it's definitely up there. And in terms of Mark Gatiss episodes, it's this one and Unquiet Dead, which are his best episodes in my opinion. So guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Please put in the comments what you think of the episode Cold War, and let me know your thoughts on Clara as well, and if you liked her more in her first few episodes than later on, or maybe the other way round happened and you loved her and then you started to not like her, and what do you think of how vulnerable she is in this episode if you've seen it recently, and why do you think that they wrote her so differently, in my opinion? Because after this she seems to go back to being confident all the time, and which obviously leads to her downfall in the end, but I think we rarely see those little glimpses of vulnerability. So yeah, please like, subscribe, let me know what you think. See you later guys.